You're not worth fighting for anymore. That's what the message said after 3 months of silence. The notification lit up my phone at 2:47 a.m., sitting on my nightstand like a time bomb. I could hear my roommate's TV through the wall, some late-night comedy show laugh track echoing. My coffee had gone cold hours ago. I stared at those 8 words until they blurred, smoothed my oversized sweater, and chose silence. No reply, no tears. I set the phone face down on my desk and walked to the window. 10 minutes later, another message appeared and everything I thought I knew shattered. Here's what happened next. The Seattle rain was relentless that morning, the kind that soaks through everything and makes the whole city smell like wet concrete. I'd been living in the same studio apartment for 6 months, the one I'd moved into after David vanished from my life like morning fog. The walls were still bare, boxes stacked in corners like monuments to starting over. My phone buzzed against the wooden desk, breaking the quiet I'd finally learned to appreciate. 3 months apparently was long enough for him to find his voice again. David and I had been together for 4 years, the kind of relationship people called couple goals on social media. We'd met in college, survived long distance, moved to the same city. He was the one who talked about forever first, who left his toothbrush at my place, who made me believe in the kind of love that doesn't just disappear overnight. But apparently, it does. The last real conversation we'd had was in July, standing in his kitchen while he made coffee like nothing was wrong. I'd asked him directly, "Are we okay?" He'd looked at me with those brown eyes I'd memorized and said, "Of course. Why wouldn't we be?" 2 weeks later, he stopped answering my calls. Then my texts. Then he blocked me on everything. Growing up, my mom always told me that people show you who they are through their actions, not their words. Dad would nod and add that the people who matter will always find time for you. Both of them forgot to mention what happens when someone rewrites 4 years of your life by simply erasing themselves from it. The months after David disappeared were a masterclass in questioning reality. I replayed every conversation, every touch, every promise. Had I missed something? Was there another woman? Another life he was living that I knew nothing about? My friends tried to help with wine nights and "he wasn't good enough for you anyway" speeches, but the truth was simpler and more brutal. He just stopped caring, and I was left holding 4 years of memories that apparently meant nothing to him. I thought about that kitchen conversation as I stared at my phone screen, rain streaking down my window. Through the glass, I could see the coffee shop where we used to meet for Sunday brunch. The one where he'd hold my hand across the table and plan weekend trips we'd never take. It looked smaller now, ordinary, like a set from a movie I'd watched too many times. The message was still there when I looked back. You're not worth fighting for anymore. Not an apology. Not an explanation. Just a final judgment delivered at 2:47 a.m. like he was settling a debt. I read it again, waiting for it to hurt the way his silence had. Instead, I felt something unexpected, relief. After 3 months of wondering, I finally had my answer. I tried to disappear into my routine like always, but the words kept echoing. Worth fighting for. As if love was a war he'd decided to lose. As if 4 years together was a battle that had simply worn him down. I made coffee, stronger than usual, and opened my laptop. Work emails, apartment listings, anything to fill the space where answers used to live. Then my phone buzzed again. Another message, longer this time, appearing on the screen like an afterthought. I hesitated before opening it, my thumb hovering over the notification. Part of me wanted to delete it unread, to preserve the clean ending his first message had given us. But curiosity won, the way it always does. I've been seeing Sarah for 8 months. We're engaged now. I thought you should know before you see it online. I never meant for it to happen this way, but sometimes life doesn't go according to plan. I hope you find someone who deserves you. The words hit like cold water. Sarah. His co-worker Sarah, the one he'd mentioned in passing, the one who always needed help with late projects. 8 months. I did the math quickly, counting backward from October to February. We were still together in February. We were planning a vacation in February. For a moment, the apartment went completely quiet. No rain, no TV through the wall, just the sound of my own breathing and the hum of the refrigerator. I set the phone down carefully, like it might explode if handled roughly. Then I started laughing. Not the bitter kind of laughter that comes from pain, but something cleaner. The kind that comes from finally understanding the joke. He'd been cheating for 8 months. Living a double life while I wondered why he seemed distant, why he stopped making plans, why he looked at me sometimes like he was solving a problem. All those nights he worked late, all those weekend trips with the guys, all those times I felt crazy for sensing something was wrong. I hadn't been losing my mind. I'd been living with a liar. I picked up the phone again and stared at his messages. The cruelty of that first text made more sense now. It wasn't random violence. It was guilt dressed up as judgment. He'd convinced himself I wasn't worth fighting for because admitting he'd given up the fight for someone else was too honest, even for a 2:47 a.m. confession. For 3 months, I'd carried his silence like a weight, wondering what I'd done wrong. How I'd failed. What I could have changed. But there was nothing to change. You can't compete with a lie you don't know exists. You can't fight for someone who's already planning their exit strategy while promising you forever. I opened a new message and started typing. Then I stopped. Deleted the words. Started again. This time I typed, "Congratulations. I hope she knows you better than I did." But I didn't send that either. Instead, I did something that felt revolutionary. I blocked his number. The screen went blank where his messages used to be, like erasing a mistake. No final word, no dramatic speech, no closure wrapped in a bow. Just silence. The kind I'd learned to appreciate over the past 3 months, the kind that belonged to me now. I walked to the window and watched the rain blur the city lights into watercolor streaks. The coffee shop was still there, but it looked different now. Smaller. Less significant. Just another building in a city full of places where things had once mattered and didn't anymore. My phone stayed quiet for the rest of the night. No more messages, no more revelations. Just the steady sound of rain and the distant laughter from my neighbor's TV. I made another cup of coffee, opened my laptop, and started looking at flights. Somewhere warm. Somewhere David had never been and would never think to look. By morning, I'd booked a ticket to San Diego. 1 week, a little beach house, no agenda except salt air and silence. The kind of trip David and I used to plan but never took. This time, I wouldn't be waiting for someone else's schedule or approval. I'd be going alone, which no longer felt like punishment. Before leaving for the airport, I cleaned the apartment methodically. I put the last of his things, a Duke University t-shirt, a paperback book he'd forgotten, into a box and set it by the door. Not to return, but to donate. Someone else could have the remnants of a life that had turned out to be mostly fiction anyway. I caught my reflection in the bathroom mirror as I brushed my teeth. Same face, same eyes, but something had shifted overnight. The woman looking back at me didn't look broken. She looked awake. Like someone who'd been sleepwalking through her own life and finally opened her eyes. The last thing I did was change my relationship status on social media from "it's complicated" to "single." Then I deleted the app entirely. Their engagement photos could live in a world I no longer needed to visit. David's new life could unfold without my witness. After 4 years of being his audience, I was finally changing the channel. At the airport, waiting for my flight, I thought about worth. About fighting. About the difference between giving up and letting go. David had been right about one thing: I wasn't worth fighting for anymore. Not because I lacked value, but because the war was over. And for the first time in months, I was on the winning side. He ghosted me after 4 years together, then sent one message that changed everything. Not because it broke my heart, but because it finally set me free. He thought he was delivering a verdict. Instead, he gave me permission to stop caring about his opinion. Some people leave your life quietly. Others slam the door. David chose to sneak out the window, then throw rocks at it months later. But the beautiful thing about moving forward is that eventually, you're too far away to hear the noise they're making behind you. If someone has ever ghosted you, know this: their silence says everything about them and nothing about your worth. You don't have to understand their choices to move past them. Sometimes the best response to cruelty is the sound of your own life getting better without them in it. Tell me, have you ever had to let go of someone who let go of you first?